Hi guys, it's Hope. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm super excited because today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my first videos about non-tox and low-tox lifestyle. And I want to preface this video just by saying that I am nowhere near perfect in this. I am learning. I have been on this train, maybe more consciously about it for the last 2 to 3 years, but I feel like I've ebbed and flowed. Some months and years I have been better than others, and I feel like I'm trying to find this balance, like I think a lot of us are that are going down this train. It's very easy to get caught up in this living and to be like, oh my gosh, every single thing that I'm using is not perfect, and that is a-okay. We are not perfect. We are going to do things that are not perfect. I am nowhere near perfect in this, but I've been slowly trying to be conscious about swapping out some of my products in my home, in my food, in my beauty, in all categories of my life, to try and be more of a low-tox living. If you're unfamiliar with what this is, I can link down below a couple of sources that explain it. Essentially, a lot of products on our shelves today in our stores are endocrine disruptors, so they're impacting our hormone health, and they're affecting the way especially women and their cycles are. And I think a lot of issues that we see today with like pregnancy or cycles for women stems from just the amount of harsh overload that we're putting in our bodies of the toxins that's loading down our liver and just not creating a good turnover in our hormones every single month. I am not an expert in this. This is my layman's term of explaining it, and so I hope that you go in and do your research and you form your own opinion on this. This is just kind of where I've landed, and I want to share with you some easy swaps that you can make in your day-to-day if you want to start living more of a low-tox, non-tox lifestyle. I will be first to admit, I still do a ton of things that do not follow in suit with this. I still eat processed food from time to time. I go out to restaurants, still drink alcohol from time to time. I still use products that have chemicals in them from time to time. My full makeup routine is not fully swapped over to non-toxic products. I could list so many things that I'm not doing effectively right now, but I think it's important to start making small changes, because it's like one step forward, you're slowly making a change. And I think that's what's important. Start with the ones that you feel are more important to you. What are things that are sitting directly on your skin day to day? Your clothes, your deodorant, your makeup, like all these things. So I'm gonna go into a couple swaps that, and by a couple, I mean I have a huge list of them, so this video might be a little long, but I'm just gonna go into a few swaps that you can make starting today that are super easy, that aren't gonna require you to spend a ton of money. That's the other thing I found with this living style is some people become so extreme with it, and I'm not shading whether one way or the other. If you live a low-tox style, or if you live a completely, like, I buy Old Spice deodorant and Tide detergent and I love my life, I'm not here to judge that. This is what I feel is best for me and my lifestyle. Sometimes I feel like those that are going down the path of trying to be super non-toxic in their lifestyle, it can get so expensive and it can get so overwhelming. I want to share with you across multiple videos on my channel in the future here of like easy swaps that you can make of like specific products that are actually like good brands that are not expensive either, because I think like that's where I get caught up too, of like I don't want to be spending $50 on a sunscreen just because it's low tox. And so I think that's where there can be a mix up, and people I think struggle on that area too, especially even with like healthy eating, for instance. So I just want to be that like guidance of like, here's ways that I'm doing it that I want to help you with, and so you don't feel that you need to be overwhelmed by it, and you can still enjoy a lifestyle and still live your life, but you can still swap with easy fixes that are going to be healthy for you and your body. One thing I did want to also point out was a lot of items are misleading in their labels. So some items you may see are free of, they're only 9 ingredients. They're free of this, and this. But when you actually turn and look at the labels, it's misleading, and there actually still are some toxins in there. There's still fragrance in some things, I think of food, it's like there's still natural flavors in food. You want to be careful too of when you are swapping items to not be misled and to do your research. I did actually download, there's one actual platform that I have used in the past. It's like, I think it's EWG skincare base or something, where you can look up like beauty products. And then I did just download the Think Dirty app, which also reviews home and food and beauty and products. So there are apps you can have on your phone that you can download and have on the go. So you just scan QR codes and it tells you rating of the item, of how clean it is. And then you can determine for yourself how clean of a range you want to live in. That was a very long-winded intro, but I wanted to make sure I gave a good background so that you kind of could understand my point of view and where I was coming from. Without further ado, I think we should just hop right in and get started. And I might need to do a part 2 to this video just because these were things that when I sat down this morning to think of, that just came to my mind. Another one just came to my mind as I was sitting here literally starting to talk to you. All right, the first one that I want to share with you are garbage bags. So scented garbage bags specifically. This is one where there's just extra fragrance in these products. I think one big thing that kind of more of a low-tox lifestyle aims for is to finding products that do not have a lot of those artificial fragrances that you're inhaling and, you know, smelling on your day-to-day. One being scented garbage bags. Those are easy to swap and use just regular garbage bags. That, and I feel like scented garbage bags for me personally often give me a headache because they're so strong. Those are just an easy swap to make. Instead of inhaling those artificial fragrances, you're not inhaling anything, and they're not really that necessary. Down the fragrance train, another suggestion would be candles. And so I do have one burning in the background right now. I tend to, if I am going to buy candles, find ones that are essential oil based or like that soy wick blend. I haven't done a ton of research on them, and I don't even have like brands that like I think are the best that stand out that I should share with you. I know a lot of them that are out there are really expensive, but I think like just swapping out artificially scented candles is a big first step. Not even just with low tox living. I was having a conversation with actually my boyfriend, and he was saying that he had done research before he had met me and we had talked about this stuff. Candles often have like the fume in them that can be hazardous just in your daily environment, of like the toxins that they're putting in the air, even when you're not burning them. Candles are just one of those things that I think are not really that great. Even though they smell good, they put off a lot of those toxins that are not healthy to be breathing in all the time in your day-to-day. Within that research, it was also found that if I'm lighting a candle in my apartment right now, it can be affecting a unit multiple units down from me. So it's the way that it's transmitted through the vents and everything. I think along that train too, any of those wallflowers that I plug into the wall, I just don't buy those anymore. That's another one of those artificial fragrances that are so strong that you're breathing in all the time. And honestly, Bath & Body Works is guilty for all this, and I do not shop at Bath & Body Works anymore because of all their fragrance and the artificial fragrance that they use in their items. Another easy swap is laundry detergent. So I used to be a Gain laundry detergent user. I no longer use Gain. I actually use the 9 Elements brand from Target. Target always has a deal on it. I don't find that it's like that much more expensive to use. And I actually really like the citrus scent that I buy from that line. It's another easy swap. Just looking into like the chemicals that are used in laundry detergent. There's a wide range of them, and I think a lot of it is unnecessary. A lot of laundry detergents that are vinegar based do just as well. That's an easy cleaning swap, is using more vinegar based items instead of using all the chemicals. So I don't know if 9 Elements is really the cleanest brand you can have, but again, this is my idea of maybe we're not perfect, but we're better. And so that's where I want to shift into that mindset, and that's what some of these are. Keeping with a lot of kitchenware, so a big swap is the non-stick. The non-stick pans and like utensils that are used often come with all this coated chemicals in it that can cook into your food when you're cooking your food and you heat it up, and it's heating up and cooling down, and they can just transfer into your food. I have started to swap a lot of my pans. I own a stainless steel pan that I do like. It can have trouble sticking, but there's actually a trick to how you heat up stainless steel pans so that they don't have a problem sticking. Essentially, you just need to turn it up really high to get the pan hot and then cool it down for a little bit so it hits like the right temperature. And then once you put a little butter on it or your spray, and you'll be able to tell if it's like too hot because it'll be like steaming, and then if it's just right, it won't do that, but it'll still melt, and that's how you know it's ready to go. I do also use cast iron on my range too. So I have like a longer cast iron pan, I have you know, different size cast iron that I used to cook a lot of things in. I will say I still do have 2 non-stick pans that I use from time to time. That's the reality of life. Sometimes I just need to use a third pan, and I have a third pan on hand that happens to be non-stick. So I think, yes, I'm conscious of trying to use products that are not, but there's still gonna be items in my daily life that will have non-stick on them. Same with cooking utensils. So I try to use wood or more like metal stainless steel cooking utensils, but I'm not always perfect for that either. I still own a drawer full of plastic utensils that do get used from time to time, but those are another easy swap that if you're looking for less plastic, you can easily switch those out. And then I think the final one for like kitchen and home items are glass containers. So when you're storing your food, switching those out from plastic to glass is so beneficial. When you have your food sitting in your plastic, it can consume all those chemicals that are used in the plastic, and instead glass does not have that. So I have made the swap of putting my food in glass containers instead of plastic containers. This has obviously been a slow shift over time, and I've gotten them for gifts and stuff, but they do have plastic lids, but that's not as big of an issue because the lids aren't touching the food. It's the actual glass container that are. Another kitchen item that I have swapped is my dish soap. I used to use like Dawn or some of those more name brand dish soaps. I just started using this ECOS brand from I don't know if it's how you pronounce it, but it's from Walmart. It's about the same price. It's still inexpensive, and I think it does just as good of a job, but it tends to be cleaner. It's more free of dyes. There's blue dye in a lot of the Dawn soaps. That was an easy swap. There have been a couple dish soaps that I have tried that I haven't loved, and I think I want to compile a list of like low-tox products that actually don't work that well. Another easy swap that I started doing with food actually is, instead of buying conventional dairy, just regular dairy and also beef, I started going grass-fed. I just find that the grass-fed butter has a richer taste, and I actually like it. And then grass-fed beef also is just, you're getting a higher quality meat and protein because they're actually, you know, they're eating grass. That swap is a little bit more expensive, but also I like to shop at Aldi, and they tend to have these swaps that are not that much more expensive. So you can find places that do swap these items for more healthier options that are also not gonna break the bank either. And I just pick and choose. Not all foods I'm great at, but like those items I tend to always buy grass-fed because I know that I will eat those on a regular basis. And so when I am consuming those, I know that that's what I know, that I wanna be choosing that best quality. Eggs is another one. I tend to try to go with the more free range. Those ones can also be very misleading in labels. Organic is often thrown out there and things are not actually organic, or cage-free really doesn't mean much difference than regular eggs. So if I'm gonna buy eggs that are more high-end, I'll buy free range, and those usually have the more orange yolk that are higher in protein. And there are just some more beauty products. So a cleaner sunscreen brand. A lot of these more name brand sunscreens are hidden with more toxins and chemicals that can almost, in my head, and I don't know if this is fully true, but in my head, I feel like a lot of these sunscreens can be worse for you than the actual sun itself because of all the chemicals you're putting directly on your skin. Your skin is the most absorbent piece of your body. It absorbs anything that you put on it. And so you want to be careful of like what you're actually putting on your skin. And often, obviously the sun can be very damaging, and I am definitely not anti-sunscreen, but I think you need to be finding sunscreen that is not just going to be slapping more chemicals on your skin, because at that point it's like, okay, well, what's worse? So I have found a couple different brands of sunscreen I can list down below that I do actually like to use. If you are a self-tanner user, this is actually one that I have not tried yet, but I have used self-tanner in the past, and they tend to have a lot of chemicals that once again are sitting on your skin. There are easy swaps. I've heard the Beauty Counter brand is actually very highly rated, and it's on my to-do list to try. I'm just not a big self-tanner person, but from time to time I do like to use it. So that's an easy swap to make if you are a big self-tanner user. Another one is perfumes. Perfumes tend to, again, have all that artificial fragrance in them. And so if you can do an easy swap, one brand I really like is Dime. They aren't super expensive either. I think they're like, I thought they were like 30 to 40, but then I looked and they were like $50 the last time. So I don't know if they've upped the price in them, but even so, like 40, 50 bucks for perfume is actually not terrible. And those are just cleaner brands. They use cleaner scents in them so that it's not just straight alcohol sitting on your skin. I have made swaps in makeup. I don't tend to use drugstore makeup as much anymore, or if I do find it at Target or Walmart, I try to buy the brands that are a little bit cleaner. I will do a whole video on my swaps. I'm actually like wanted to film my 15-minute makeup routine video of products that I use, and not all of them are perfect. Some of them are good swaps and some are not. There are some good makeup swaps at the drugstore that are not terrible in price that you can make. You know, like there's some that are more important to me than other. Foundation is one that sits on my skin all day. I prefer to have that one swapped sooner than maybe an eyebrow gel or a mascara. That is another easy one that if you want to slowly make a switch over, you can swap your makeup, you can swap your shampoo and your hair care, you can swap your skincare. Skincare is another big one. That's the one that really sinks into your skin, so I've been trying to be better about that. There's a bunch of different brands at Target, Cocoa Kind, Cure, even Honest Beauty. Like there's a few different brands out there, and I think the brand Cure is actually relatively inexpensive for being lower tox. So if you're interested in those brands, I would definitely check your local drugstore because they would have a little bit more cleaner options. Same with period products. That is a huge swap that I have done and that I think is so important. Just think about if you're using like tampons, what you're putting inside your body that's sitting for 8 hours in a day. Like that is one of the first few swaps that I would make, would be period products and deodorant. Those are the last two products I'm going to mention, but like those are one of the first few ones that I would actually make because of how like directly impacted they are even to your cycle health, the period products specifically. I really like the Cora brand. I've also used Lola before. I don't mind that brand. There are a couple different swaps. Honey Pot is another brand you can use. Some people go from, instead of using tampons, they'll use period like the cups. That is an easy one to make an easy swap in instead of using some of the more traditional name brands. Deodorant, I actually have a brand that I really like. I think it's called Humble, but I will link it down below. I actually find it at TJ Maxx to be the cheapest, but it's an easy swap. It doesn't have all the harmful chemicals in it that most deodorants do. It's very hard to go to a Target and find a deodorant that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in them. Native is one brand that is a cleaner version. It's not, I don't think, the best, but this is just my unprofessional opinion. So I also use the Humble brand because it helps with my smell. And then also, I am not a huge sweater, but I noticed that like I'm not sweating more when I'm using it. There are a couple different places that you can find a lot of these products too. As I mentioned earlier, Aldi's a good store if you're looking for items that are going to land within good budget, but are gonna have some nicer swaps that are cleaner. And if you pay attention to ingredient labels, they often have a lot of those cleaner ingredients. And so I would recommend definitely going and looking at Aldi. I won't mention too much on Thrive Market because I know this one is definitely over promoted in the influencer world, but I'm actually a paying customer of Thrive Market. And I find that if I am really in my health kick, this is the site to go that has most brands that are going to be more of the cleaner brands. Again, you have to be careful because there are some misleading labels on there and they're not all clean products that they claim to be. But I have bought a lot of products from Thrive over the last year or two that I've had the membership, and there are some nice and easy swaps on there. You do have to pay $60 a year, I think it is, or it's like $10 a month, so you can choose your plan. I do have a link. I think I have a referral link if you want to use it, but that's just like every paying customer gets that. I do find it helpful for going to one place that you can just ship to your house and have them all there. They advertise as being one of the cheaper places. I don't know if that's the case. I've heard that they do price match. I've never tested it. I don't know if they're necessarily the cheapest that I've found a lot of products, just because some places have deals, but it is kind of a nice all-in-one tool to use. Again, I also want to mention there are places where you can look online to find ratings of products, and you can kind of determine best of like, okay, maybe I'm not going to want to live super non-toxic, but I don't want to be like buying all these chemical products. Like, how do I find a happy medium, which I think is what I'm kind of trying to strive for. So there are a couple different apps that you can find, and I will link them down below, that have different features if you're curious. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. This was my very non-professional opinion, but this is just kind of where I've been at and what I've slowly learned over the last few years of doing this. I kind of started going down this train in summer of 2021, and I've had some really good months, and then some months that I've like really regressed and been terrible. Like I said, I still eat processed foods once in a while. I still go out to eat. I still drink alcohol once in a while. You know, like I still am not perfect, but I think I still use a chemical. I have a couple chemical products under my sink right now for cleaners. Like I'm not perfect, but if I can make slow, small steps and swaps in my daily life, I think that's just what's important. Because if you strive for perfection, you're just never gonna be happy, and you're always gonna be trying to catch up to something that's just really not gonna be attainable. If you are into this lifestyle, I'm very curious, like what are your favorite products? What do you recommend? What are other swaps that we need to be making today? I know that there's some bigger ones. People say like crock pots, mattresses could be swapped. I mean, there's so many things that you can go so in depth on. Again, depending on the range you want to live at. But if you have some swaps of easy products that you would recommend, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments and kind of interact with you and learn more about this lifestyle, because I'm very curious and I always want to continue to improve and be better. With that, I think I'm gonna go now because this video has been long enough. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe if you are new and stick around, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.